Hello everybody and welcome back to another Google tutorial. Today we're talking about Google Sheets. So let's go ahead and get started. In Google Drive, I'll go up to New, and I'm going to slide down to Google Sheets. Once Google Sheets opens, we'll go ahead and name it. I'm going to call this Grades. I'm going to click into A1. I'm going to add some things to my spreadsheet. The first thing I want to do is I want to put in names. This is going to be like a grade book. In B1, I'm going to put in the results for Chapter 1. In C1, I'm going to put in results for Chapter 2. And in D1, I'm going to put in the results for Chapter 3. And you can set this up however way you want it to look. Now I'm going to add some names. I added names Sally Smith, Joe Jones, Donnie Gray, Anne Green, and Tom Williams. Let's go ahead and talk about our toolbar at the top. I can highlight any cell or any series of cells by clicking on them or clicking and dragging. These will be my titles, and I want to make them bold. And you can see the same toolbar at the top as you would see in Google Docs, and I want to make it bold. I can also change the font and size here. I can also change the color. I can also go to the text alignment and make it into the center. If I needed to wrap something in my cell, I would go to the text wrapping button. There are 3 different ways that you can do your text wrapping. Let's go ahead and freeze some cells. As I move across my gradebook, I want to always see the names in my gradebook. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight all of column A. I'm going to click on column A. I'm going to go to View. And what I want to do is I want to freeze column 1. I'm going to go down to column 1. This freezes all of column 1. So as I scroll over, I can go all the way across and back. Now this brings me to an interesting point. There are a lot of cells in my spreadsheet. One way to get rid of them is using an add-on. If I go up to add-ons, one of the add-ons that I love is called Crop Sheet. Now if you don't have Crop Sheet, go down to Get Add-ons. In the search add-on box, type in Crop Sheet and hit enter. This is what Crop Sheet looks like. I have it loaded, but you'll click on Free. There are a couple ways that it works. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of the cells that I want to keep in my spreadsheet. I'm going to start with A1. I'm going to go down to A20. And I'm going to go across all the way to Z. This is the only section that I want in my spreadsheet. Now I'm going to go to Add-ons. I'm going to go down to Crop Sheet. Again, there are 2 ways that this works. You can crop only to the data that you have, or you can crop to the selection. I'm going to crop to selection. Watch what happens. It now deletes all of the cells below 20. I can scroll across now because I am at column Z. I'm going to scroll to the left, and there's my chapters. All of column A is still there, and I can scroll back and forth. A couple things about our spreadsheet now. I can go ahead and make my cells larger or smaller by putting my mouse in between the divider between A and B. I can make this cell larger if my names are larger, or I can put this cell smaller. If I want all of the cells to be the same size, I'm going to go to the button that doesn't have anything on it, right above the number 1. I'm going to resize the cell between A and B, and all of the cells will be the same size. Let's go ahead and add some scores now to my students for chapters 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I've added my scores now for chapters 1, 2, and 3 for my students. Now what I want to do is I want to do a sort. I'm going to highlight all of my cells starting with A1 clicking and holding and dragging down to D6. Now I'm going to go up to the word data, and you can see that I can sort the sheet by column A. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Uh-oh, some of my names and chapters are now not at the top as headings. I don't want to do that. I'm going to hit undo. Let's try that again. Go to data. I want to try this one that's called sort range. This allows me to have a data header row. That's the names, chapters. I'm going to click it. Now it's going to ask me what I want to sort it by. I want to sort it by names A through Z. Let's go ahead and say sort. Now in my spreadsheet, my names are in alphabetical order, and all of the scores have come along with it. Other ways that you can sort, again, highlighting everything. Go to data, slide down to sort range. I'm going to do a data has a header row, which it does. Let me sort the grades of chapter 1. Now I can see all the scores for chapter 1. I'm going to go ahead and hit undo. My names are in alphabetical order. Notice that my names are in first and last names all in column A. If I wanted to change that and have the first names in column A and the last names in column B, I can do that. Let's go ahead and add another column. I'm going to highlight all of column A. I'm going to go to Insert, and I want to insert a column to the right. That moves everything over to the right. Now I'm also going to freeze column B as well. So I'm going to go to View, Freeze, column 2. Now as I move across, A and B are both locked, and I can scroll left to right. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight Anne Green. I want Anne to be in column A. I want Green to be in column B. Instead of deleting and typing over again, I'm going to go up to Data. I'm going to go down to Split Text into Columns. Click it. It has this small window that appears. It says Separator. Whenever I click on it, it's going to detect automatically. Is there a comma or a semicolon or period? There's a space, though. I can click on space, and now it separates it, Anne, and then Green. Let's try that again. I'm going to click on Donnie Gray, go to Data, slide down to Split Text into Columns, go to the text box, slide down to Space, and it does it again. Let's do it for the last 3. Now I can go ahead and change this to first names and column B, last names. Let's go ahead and do some formulas now. Column F, I want to have a total points for each student. Now I'm going to highlight across all of their totals. I'm going to go up to the Sum button, click it, and I'm going to have Sum. I'm going to hit Enter. Now, instead of doing that all over again, what I can do is something that's called a fill down. I'm going to click on the cells. I'm going to go to the little square in the bottom corner and put my mouse right on it. Now I'm going to click and hold. I'm going to drag down. That's going to fill that formula down for each student. Each student now has a different total. This is the total points. I'm going to make it centered. I'm going to make it bold. Now I want to do the average. What's the average score? Again, I'm going to make it centered and bold. Again, I want to make a formula. I'm going to highlight across. Now I don't want to include the total, but watch what I can do. I'm going to go to Sum. I'm going to choose Average. Here's the average formula, equals average, then a parentheses, C2 to F2. That's the range. I'm going to change the range from F2 down to E2. I'm going to backspace. I'm going to put an E in there. Now I'm going to hit Enter. It's only going to give me the average for the first 3 chapters, not the total. Watch it again. I'm going to highlight across, go to my Sum button, choose Average. change the F to an E, then hit enter. I can fill down that formula the same way I did the totals. It'll do it by student. Now, I have all these dots and then all these numbers afterwards. I'm going to highlight going down, and I'm going to make my decimal point go to the right. Now I have my average. Next week, what we'll do is we'll work with some charts and tables. But for right now, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I'll see you next week.